Alright, y'all. So today, kind of wanted to review Peacemaker season one. And this is a show that was mostly directed and written by James Gunn, and was released a few years ago, back in 2022, and is currently canon to his new DC universe um, alongside the I guess the DCEU. I'm not sure about that. That being said, my quick thoughts. So, I haven't seen this show in years. I saw it when it came out all the way back in 2022, which, even though that was only like 3 years ago, it kind of feels like a different time. I mean, COVID was still a thing, and I think people were just starting to come out of lockdown, and it was just a weird time. The DCU was still a thing, right? It was just kind of a weird time. That being said, they dropped this series, and it was a sequel slash spinoff from his last film, The Suicide Squad, which I also reviewed. And I thought that movie was pretty good, and I liked John Cena as Peacemaker in it. Now, at the time when I heard they were making a Peacemaker season or series or whatever, I thought to myself, "What? I mean, this guy?" I mean, it was clear that he was setting him up for something, like at the end of the post credit scene, obviously. But it just felt weird. I was like, Peacemaker was really cool in that movie. But that being said, to make a whole series based on this guy, I don't know, man. I don't know how this is gonna go. That being said, I gave it a shot and I watched it, and I recently rewatched it again, and I think for the most part, this series knocks it out of the park. It's a really good series. I wouldn't call it amazing. There's some issues I definitely have with it. Some characters I don't like, some writing issues, but I think for the most part, this is a really good DC series. I don't know if it's like in the top 10. It's probably not in the top 10 DC shows of all time because, let's be honest, DC has really reigned supreme on television for a long time with their stuff. But, I think for the most part, this is a really solid and good series. Now, this is probably, I wouldn't recommend this to everyone, if I just being honest here, because this series feels like the most James Gunn thing that I don't think he's ever made since or before, right? I just think this thing has a lot of the things that make James Gunn. So he's gonna have the long, elaborate jokes that are drawn out for really unnecessary purposes sometimes. He's going to have the crazy, weird, kooky plot. He's going to have tons of weird characters in this point. Peacemaker in the series. A weird plot about aliens, just all kinds of weird things. And it feels the most James Gunn thing I think he's ever made, personally. But personally, I like most of his stuff. So this is not really a complaint for me, but just letting you know. And this is obviously a really, crazy series. Now let's get into the pros, and then I'll get to the cons. So first, John Cena's Peacemaker. I really liked him in Suicide Squad, and he's fantastic here. I really don't have any complaints about his performance. I think personally, I haven't seen a casting of a superhero that I can definitively say that's beautiful casting. Like, that's perfect casting. I really can't think of anyone else in that role. And to be honest with you, this to me is like Tony Stark and Robert Downey Jr. This is a beautifully cast role. He does a fantastic job and completely embodies the character. His humor is funny. His comedy is hilarious. His acting ability is actually really solid. And I think for the most part, he displayed a really great wide range of emotions. And he's really funny. I just think he embodies the character. I know originally Dave Bautista was apparently going to play him, or he was being considered. I'm really glad they didn't go with that. As much as I love Drax in the MCU, I don't think his style would have fit this character that well. I think John Cena really fit this character way better, and I think it was perfect casting. In terms of his supporting cast, now there's a supporting cast surrounding Peacemaker that he works with. Some of these people you saw in the Suicide Squad movie. A lady called Hawthorne is here, and she's pretty much the same. I actually like her a lot more than in the Suicide Squad, which she really didn't have too much of a presence in. The computer guy, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. The guy that they're always making jokes and calling Diebeard in the series was surprisingly really good. I liked him for the most part. He was pretty funny, but as a character, he wasn't really too much to scoff at. But there is one scene near the end of the series that really opened him up and made me like him. Also, Peacemaker has kind of a sidekick by the name of Vigilante, who were introduced in this series, and man, he was so funny. I think he was almost as funny as Peacemaker. This guy is truly a psychopath. Like this guy, I think personally was even crazier than Peacemaker with his mentalities. Like he is just insane. And honestly, the perfect kind of duo for these two is fantastic. I love it. I thought he was cool. I even liked his costume. It was pretty solid. You also have other characters. You also find out that Peacemaker has a pet eagle, which is hilarious. Of course, by the name of Eagly, which I guess you can call it kind of like the Groot-like character in this series, even though he doesn't appear in the series that much. But he's really cool, and I liked him. You also have Mern, who's kind of this guy who leads this operation. Because the basic gist of the plot is Peacemaker, after the events of Suicide Squad, kind of basically is forced to work for Amanda Waller and the government again to basically stop an elaborate plot by these alien butterfly creatures that are secretly taking over people with powerful positions and trying to slowly take over the world. Which we find out later that they were trying to do that, but also trying to, I guess, in a way, prevent prevent what happened on their world, which it's previously established that they left their world that was dying due to their own mistakes. So that's kind of the basic gist of it. Also surrounding like the fact that Peacemaker has to deal with the consequences of the Suicide Squad, and he also encounters his father, which gets caught up in all this mess. And a big thing obviously happening, that Peacemaker basically having to kill his father, which the actor who plays his father, I can't remember his name. I think the guy who plays T-1000 Terminator 2 plays him. He's really good in this movie. He's really good. I thought he sold his performance really good. And I think to get back on the characters, Murray's pretty good for what he is. I actually thought by the end of the series I liked him a lot more than the beginning. Then we also have Alboyo. I could be saying that name wrong, but she is the daughter of Amanda Waller, which is revealed. She's kind of the new kid on the block, so to speak. She's very much inexperienced. I didn't really like her character that much. I mean, this is going to be one of my cons of the series. I wasn't a huge fan of her, but she's there. But to continue with the pros, I thought the story was really good. I thought the whole thing with the butterflies was really cool and interesting commentary on conspiracies and the whole thing with lizard people, because of kind of that infamous theory, lizard people are secretly controlling our society. Even though at the end of the day, what's probably even more horrifying is that these are all just normal people, and all these people are just making really bad decisions. And the show kind of has a slight commentary about that, which I really liked. But I thought the plot was really good. The butterfly thing, which unraveled throughout the series, because at the beginning, really not sure what the hell the whole butterfly thing is. But as the series goes along, you find out more about it, was really good. And I like the way that they stopped it, too. And I like the moral dilemma at the end, where Peacemaker kind of killed their only food source. And maybe did he kill the planet, but the other characters talk to him and say that basically it's better for humans to make their own decisions, which is true. I don't want no weird bug people controlling the the world, right? That'd be pretty weird. Um, and I think there were some also interesting arcs. Like I said before, I like the whole arc with Peacemaker dealing with the fallout of the Suicide Squad. That was well done. And the fact that he confronts his father, which he has abuse and a history with, and he's like this crazy Nazi racist guy, which admittedly to me had some really funny lines. But the whole crazy scene where he kills his father in the show, really demented, but really incredible scene. And I think it's personally the best scene in the series. It was really good. And I also like the fact that Peacemaker, while clearly not a good guy, because he's made a lot of bad decisions, has really bad tendencies, and likes to bully people. Like, there's a lot of things that don't make him Superman, right? But I think in a lot of ways it shows that there's good in everyone, and everyone can strive to be a better person. And a lot of these characters throughout the series that surround Peacemaker also strive to be better people. And I just kind of like the whole camaraderie of it all. I think in general, all the cast members, for what they were given, were done a really good job. I think the chemistry between them was really good. The humor was pretty good. There were a few jokes here and there. I was like, okay, Gunn, you're kind of dragging this joke out a little too long. But there are some standout, hilarious moments. Like I already mentioned, Vigilante was hilarious. And Peacemaker and John Cena himself is obviously really funny. Also, I thought the action in the series, this is a very, R-rated, gore-rated series. This is a really good. I thought the action was really solid for what it was. The special effects and the quality. I've seen a lot of really crappy DC series in my lifetime that had really mixed levels of CGI effects. This series, another huge pro about it is it's really just movie quality CGI throughout. Like, there's not really any bad looking CGI. It's all really well done and looks very professional. Like, really, it could be a movie. It's really that good. So the CGI and the action sequences and the visuals and the directing are all fantastic, obviously, for this series. So I think it was really well done on Gunn's part. Um, and in general, I liked the plot, which I already mentioned. I liked all the performances for the most part. I liked some of the storylines. I liked some of the characters. I even liked other minor characters like Judo Master. And, there's some really funny scenes in the series. Now let's get into some of the cons I have. I do think the series is a little too short. It's only 8 episodes long, and I feel like they could have dragged it out for maybe another 2 or 3 episodes just to give it a little bit more room. Like, what's it called? Room to breathe. Um, and I think some of the writing, like I already mentioned, I'm not the hugest fan of Amanda Waller's daughter, which she's in this series, and she's not that amazing. I really didn't like her character that much. The whole thing with her is like, I'm new, I'm inexperienced, and she does this bad thing that her mother told her to do. And at the end of the series, she kind of bounces back, gets in kind of a weird apology, I guess, like apologizes to Peacemaker, and then basically rats out her mom. I felt like that was a really drastic turn of events at the end of the series. I was like, okay, you're just gonna rat out everybody? Like, I get it, they've had a change of heart. This whole experience has been crazy for them, but then you're just gonna do that? Like, I felt like Bloodsport's transformation in the Suicide Squad movie, where he basically goes against Amanda Waller to stop Starro, felt much more natural and earned. Unlike her arc in the series, which felt very forced and weird. So that's one of my little cons with the writing. I did think the pacing of the series was a little bit weird, but not a huge complaint. Um, and that's really all the huge complaints. I mean, I think for the most part, this is a really solid series. Has a lot of really good moments, and I think more importantly, it makes you care about the character Peacemaker and the other people surrounding him. And honestly makes me want to see more of their adventures in another season, which I know is happening, season 2. So, yeah, just kind of wanted to make a very quick video to talk about Peacemaker season 1. Very solid series. Not perfect. I wouldn't call it like great 10 out of 10 DC property or anything, but it's a very solid series for what it is, and definitely, give it a shot. But obviously know what you're going into. Obviously, this is the most James Gunn thing he's ever made. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Peacemaker season 1. All right, peace, y'all. Peace, y'all. Made a weird joke there.